Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
G'day, Starlo here with another Tuesday YAK chat. And I'm out on a lovely estuary on the far south coast of New South Wales. This one's actually closed to the sea at the moment, so there's no tide. And what a glorious afternoon it is for late May. The sun's come out after a couple of days of rain and it's warmed right up. There's virtually no wind, maybe a very, very light occasional puff from the southeast. Temperature's about 18 or 19 degrees, but I'm sure it'll drop pretty quickly as the afternoon progresses. I'm going to go for a little bit of a troll first. I can see some birds diving over here, so there might be some bait. There might even be some tailor around. I can't see any bait moving. Ooh. I just hit the bottom then. I'll have to check that for weed. No, it feels like it's still swimming all right. That's the nice thing about braided line. You got so much sensitivity through it that you can tell that your lure is still swimming. As always, this Tuesday Yak Chat is brought to you by the good folks at CM Partners Accounting, who are my major sponsor for this part of my programming, and they're also the people who do our books and our tax returns. Really good people to work with. Pretty important at the moment because we just had a federal budget and quite a few of the rules around things like capital gains tax have changed, and you need the right people on your side. Oh, I just got a hit then. You need the right people on your side to make sure that you're not paying too much tax. So if you've never had an accountancy firm before, or if you've got one and you're not happy with them, have a talk to CM Partners Accounting. Use my link down below and they'll really look after you. Tell them Starlo sent you. They'll give you a free consultation. What I wanted to have a bit of a yak to you about this afternoon from the yak is just how much fishing has changed over my lifetime. I'm going to put my sunnies on though because it's pretty bright. I just turned 68 the other day. And it got me thinking about the fact that I was 6 years old when I caught my first fish. So I've been fishing for more than 60 years. That's a long time. And as you can imagine, I've seen quite a lot of changes in that time. And what I was going to talk to you about today was the changes that I've seen in technology and communications. They're probably the areas that I've seen the biggest changes in. Communications in particular. I mean, I kicked off as an English and history teacher, didn't do that for very long, and then I went and became editor of Fishing World magazine and did that for 4 or 5 years before I went out freelance. And back in those days, all my fishing communication was done via the print media, magazines. There were some TV shows around in those days. My boss, Ron Calcutt, had a Fisherman's World on the ABC, a fantastic series of TV shows. But we didn't have the Rex Hunts and the Paul Worstlings and all the other sort of mainstream TV fishing in those days. So it was all about print media, and it was mostly about magazines and books. I used to absolutely consume both of them, books and magazines, loved them. Used to wait every month for the latest Australian Angler, as it was in those days, and then Modern Fishing and Outdoors and all those other magazines, they'd come out. If I couldn't afford to buy them, I'd go to the local barber shop, and while I'm sitting there waiting for my short back and sides, I'd read all the old back copies of Australian Outdoors. That's where I discovered Vic McChrystal, my all-time favourite Australian outdoor writer. I discovered his stuff by reading the old Outdoors magazine. Some of you are probably old enough to remember that. Anyway, for better or worse, magazines are pretty much gone. There's not many left at all these days, and even those ones that are left are probably not going to last that much longer. Everything's gone online. Now, I can lament that as much as I want to, and I do miss the magazines. I really miss sitting there and holding a fishing magazine. We used to have a stack of them in the smallest room in the house, if you know what I mean. Sitting there next to the toilet, you'd read the Outdoors or the Modern Fishing or the Fishing World or whatever while you were on the loo. Those days are long gone. I suppose most people are on their phones now doing that. Yuck. Anyway, magazines have gone the way of the dinosaurs. They've lumbered off to the tar pits, and I don't think we're going to see them come back. So it's all about online these days. It's all about social media. And as I said, I can lament that fact and yearn for the good old days, but that's not going to change anything. No matter what you and I think, things are going to be what they're going to be. And people want social media these days, and they want instant gratification, and they don't want to sit and read articles or books or whatever. I'm going to reel that in because I bumped the bottom, and then I had what I think was definitely a tap from a fish. I'll just make sure the lure hasn't picked up any weed or whatever. Feels like it's swimming really well. Yeah, no, it's fine. Clean as a whistle. So get it back out there. And I'm right into social media. I never thought I would get into it, but having a wife who's nearly 11 years younger than me and was into all that stuff, it helped me get into social media. And I've really got Joe to thank for that. And I quite enjoy it. Instagram and Facebook, I don't do that. I had a TikTok account for a little while, but I cancelled that. That's not really my thing. Facebook's really the one I probably enjoy the most, although Instagram is good for images. It seems to be very image-driven, and you see some fantastic photos on there at times, although you got to hate all this AI slop that we're getting these days. I'm just sick and tired of looking at AI-generated images and videos and everything else. I just scan straight through them now. Luckily, you can usually pick that it's AI-generated, although that'll probably change over time too, because they're getting better and better at it and making things look more realistic. I think it's going to make people crave authenticity and the real human touch even more than they do already, this rise of AI. Look, AI, again, it's not a bad thing in itself. It's the way it's being used. We all use AI, believe it or not. A lot of the things you do every day are driven by AI. When you do a Google search or whatever else, you're actually using AI. And I can see a lot of uses for it. I mean, it's great for researching stuff, as long as you take it with a grain of salt, because it's not always 100% accurate. But when it starts to, take over our lives, and when it just generates so much slop, and you've actually got AI talking to AI now, apparently there are actually social media platforms just intended for AI bots to talk to each other. That just does my head in. I think I must be getting old. I don't understand all of that. So yeah, look, the good parts of AI, I embrace them, but I can also see that there's going to be a human backlash against it. People are just not that enamoured with seeing artificially created stuff all the time. That's definitely picked up weed now, surely. I can still feel it swimming, but it just feels like it's got a little bit too much weight on it. Let's have a look. Wow, what a day. No AI out here. And yeah, look at that. Little bit of greenery on there, not much, but enough to spoil the action and make sure that no fish would hit it. I might try not putting it out quite as far. Oh, there's a whole bunch of swans taking off up ahead. You might be able to hear them if you're listening to this as a podcast, and you'll certainly be able to see them if you're watching it as a YouTube video. And these Yak Chats are available as both. So if you're listening to this one as a podcast, go on to Starlo Gets Real and have a look at the videos of the Yak Chats on there and all my other stuff. And vice versa, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like the idea of podcasts, don't forget Starlo's Cutting Edge Fishing Wisdom on Spotify and Apple and all the other platforms, as well as straight from the RSS feed on Buzzsprout. And I'll put how you can get onto all that down below as well. So yeah, communications have definitely changed. And back in the magazine days, like when I was working for Fishing World, there was a 5-month lead time. In other words, from the time an article got written until you had the magazine in your hot little hands was a minimum of 5 months. So something that happened in January, you might get to read about it in May or June. So it wasn't exactly current. And in some ways, I think that helped to protect spots and bites and phenomenons a little bit, whereas nowadays, it happens now, it's online immediately. You can live stream stuff, you can put posts up straight away, and you can really get stuff up there online quickly. And that's a double-edged sword, because it means that it does increase pressure on fisheries and on locations that are firing particularly well at the time. When people start making a few posts about them, you've got to expect other people to go there, and that's just human nature. We need to bear that in mind and think about maybe protecting our spots and our fisheries a little bit. I'm all for sharing information. Who shares wins. It's a great motto, but you can overdo it. And if you spoon feed people, they become used to being spoon fed and they don't think for themselves, wow, I've just come over a big shallow weed bed here. I can actually see it through the clear water. So I'm going to pull that lure in. Yeah, it's just dived into the weed, and try and find myself a slightly deeper bit of water to troll this lure in. The other thing that's changed dramatically in my 60 years of fishing is technology, of course. Not just in fishing tackle, but in all the electronics and stuff that we use in relation to our fishing. This kayak is actually set up to take a sounder. It's got a transducer, I've got all the wiring and everything, and for a while I did run a sounder on it, but I got a bit tired of trying to keep batteries charged and all that sort of stuff, and I just started thinking about the places where I normally kayak fish, and do I really need a sounder? And I just don't think I do, so I don't bother about putting it on anymore. I like just getting out there and keeping things simple. But I got a couple of sounders in my boat. They're a decade old now, but they still do their job. They show me how deep it is, they show me what the bottom looks like, and they often show me some fish if the fish are between me and the bottom. And that's about all I ask for from a sounder. I'm pretty happy with that. These days, of course, it's all about forward-facing sonar. And I've talked about this before. I have absolutely no issues with forward-facing sonar. I think it's absolutely stunning bit of technology. I've been lucky enough to fish with some real gurus, people like Dean Sylvester, who really know how to use it. And it's just fascinating to watch them use it to its best advantage. But having said that, I don't really think it's for me. It just doesn't float my boat. For some reason, I don't like spending so much time looking at the screen. But boy, when you look at that screen and you see it actually happening, it's pretty addictive, seeing the fish responding to your lure and stuff like that. So I can see why people get into it. Even though I don't have forward-facing sonar, I'm actually doing Steve Morgan's forward-facing sonar online course at the moment. And gee, it's a good course. He's really done a great job. And one of the things I like most about Morgo's course on forward-facing sonar is that it helps to demystify the whole thing. It really helps to put it in perspective and show you that it's just another tool for finding fish. It's a cliche, but it doesn't catch the fish for you. You've still got to catch them yourself. So the forward-facing sonar is just a tool for finding fish, and Morgo explains it so well in his course. I'm about a third of the way through at the moment, and I'm really enjoying doing it. If you want to sign up to his course, particularly if you've got forward-facing sonar or you're thinking about getting it and you really don't have much of a clue about how it works, do Morgo's course. It is fantastic. Again, I'll put the link for that down below. But yeah, technology has definitely changed our fishing. Has it made it easier? I don't know. Maybe we're just keeping up. Fishing's getting harder in a lot of situations. There's less fish in some populations. Not all, but there's definitely more anglers in just about every scenario that you can think of. So there's more competition for those fish. We've got more people chasing the same amount of fish, or in many cases less fish. So unless you keep up with the technology, you actually start to lose ground. And I think advances in tackle and advances in technology basically just helped us to keep up. We're not really ahead of the game. You don't have to use the tech, of course. You can just go back and fish like we all did 50 or 60 years ago. And if that's what floats your boat, that's what you should be doing. Don't let people tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing in fishing. It's a very personal thing. And we all have our preferences and our ways that we like to fish, our species that we like to chase, the tackle that we like to use. And that's exactly as it should be. I get a little bit peeved when I hear people putting down other forms of fishing or putting down other anglers who think differently about ways to go fishing and tackle to use and technology to use than the way they think. There's room for all of us. There's plenty of different opinions and there's so many different ways to go fishing. What's the old saying? More than one way to skin a cat. And that's very much true of fishing. Well, I haven't found that bit of deeper water yet. I can still see weed down there, so I'll keep poking along and I'll get this lure back out there. Hope you're liking the Tuesday chats. Please give me some ideas on what you'd like me to cover in future episodes. I'm all ears. I'd love to know what it is that you want to hear about and watch or listen to on these podcasts and videos. And I better start getting serious about my fishing this afternoon. I've been chatting away too much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, this is Starlo wishing you tight lines. There's another bird just dived in over there. There's got to be some bait. Right, I'm going to push over.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.